Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Old Hunt. We are still celebrating 10 years of Bloodborne and a playthrough here, and we have descended this long, I don't know what you call this, because it looks, I was going to call it a shaft, but then I realized these are all, like, carefully built up houses one on top of the other, it looks like, and there's, like, windows and things, so I don't know, maybe there's like a proper architectural term for all this. I don't know. Certainly the way that we descended was fairly ramshackle and thrown together. But anyway, that's where we are. We've been directed, we were directed, that is, to the Healing Church workshop. And then we sort of came down. We spent a long time last time talking about the nature of reality and the source of the dream. But we're going to get back to the hunt. That was a lot of very sort of abstruse talking points and things like that. Let's just play the game a bit. Let's talk to this person, see how they're doing.
What you say, friend?
Yeah, they're having a good time. They know what this is about. Just having some fun playing Bloodborne. That's my goal for this episode. And there's a little bit of an ambush here, where the crows will go for you if you try and grab that armor set. Nice. I was able to take it out in one blow. One strike! Yes! Haha, I feel powerful. Didn't even have to use my new technique with the hammer. And, of course, we have a new set of clothing that this time is not particularly difficult to parse. This is the theme of the episode, right? We're not gonna talk about anything too crazy this time, I hope. Let's see. Here we go. We have let's see. This is like the old, like the ruffled Yarnum hat. I should double check that, but that's what I want to say it is. Let's see. A typical hat of the old capital Yarnum. Yarnum's a capital, I guess? I'm pretty sure that's what that kanji is. Maybe it's just like Metropolis, but I think it's capital. I'll double check that and put that in editing too. Got a little double checking to do. I didn't think this was going to be hard. I mean, the concept isn't hard. The kanji is tricky. Anyway, sort of, I want to say like worn with use, aged with use, aged from use, because literally like old is in the middle of that term there, and it's like coming to pieces, right? And then over here we have the the smelly sweat clothing. Beautiful name right there. Let's see. Once again, a typical bit of old capital Yarnum clothing, and aged from use. Ooh, okay. It stinks of sweat and is still damp, right? Ugh. Well, get to enjoy the damp odor of this new set of clothes, I suppose. Is this called the Sweaty Yarnum set or something? Maybe. Maybe, but we're wearing it now. All right, now we got to be careful of this thing over here, and we got to be careful of this dog over here. And if you listen, oh, and also look closely, you can notice that there is a wandering patrol going around. And this is a little bit of a tricky situation, but I think we have the tools that we need to resolve it. I think we're going to be able to get through here just fine. So let's lock onto the dog. There we go. Tempt him forward. And a couple swings of the hammer, and the dog is done for. However, we were noticed. The swings of the hammer were, it turns out, fairly noisy. So let's keep our distance from that scary enemy. Wait till it turns around. That would be ideal if it turns around. Yeah, look at that. Oh, and it's even closer now than it was up the stairs. So we're more insulated from the patrol. Well, I spoke too soon. We're more insulated from the patrol is literally what I was just saying as a patrol walked by. Go figure. Do not want any outside interference. All right, now. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Am I going to be... Okay, thank goodness he attacks so slow. And buffs himself very slow. Yes! Alright, and the visceral was enough to finish the job. Excellent. Oh, and beautiful, and we got another twin bloodstone shard. That's just great. Excellent. I couldn't be happier with how that went. All right, here's patrol number 1. I guess there's 2 patrols, which is why I was so confused. I thought there was only 1. Yeah, I took out your dog friend. Took out your dog. I'm waiting for you to turn around. Hi there. No, you die. Oh, interesting. So I was pressing the ooh, that L2 is nice. I was pressing R2 to tap it, and then R2 again to get a follow-up. And it sort of happens. That's a double slam that I was thinking of. Interesting. So you get basically a different follow-up, and clearly one that I wasn't expecting, from a double tap of R2. Tap, tap, gets you that. And as you saw in the last episode, I was discovering that if you do a full charge and then follow it up with another R2, you get a different sort of combo swing. All right, now let's make sure this dog is still around. Let's make sure... That's not what I make sure of. I want to make sure that this patrol is not ready for me. All right, priority number 1 is the dog. Nope. All right. All right, dog's gone. Good. Excellent. All right, now you two. See if I can charge over here. 1. Ah, I wanted to hit him with the second one. I wanted to hit him with a follow-up R2, but it was too slow. Boy, even the nice follow-up R2 combo that I was learning has its downsides for being so slow. It's going to be a tricky little weapon to get the hang of. Little, I call it. It's gigantic. It's this giant hammer. It's part of the problem. All right. Now, most importantly, this enemy here. This is a terrifying enemy. It's probably one of the scariest enemies to me in the entire game. But we've been buffing our arcane, and I think they are weak to Molotov cocktails. So, I think I'm just going to toss one and not deal with it at all. Yeah, look at that. Beautiful. Problem solved. Didn't have to deal with it whatsoever. And that blood gem right there is absolutely key for an arcane playthrough. Now, technically, you could spend time in the Chalice dungeons and get other ones similar to it, but it's one of the sorts of gems that you can put in what's typically the 3rd gem slot that unlocks in a weapon, and it allows you to switch the damage type from physical to arcane-based. So remember how I was reading that one gem description, and it was talking about how blood defines an organism? If you use a fire-empowered blood gem, you can change the nature of the weapon that you're using from physical attack to fire attack. And it's pretty cool. Also bolt attack, also straight arcane attack, as I was sort of indicating with that thing I was talking about with the arcane rifle spear that I got a comment about. So we will eventually be looking to do that, but right now we don't have, I don't think we have any 3rd slots of our weapons available at all. So we're going to be waiting a little bit on that. Although we have gotten some of those, that's an interesting sound effect. We have gotten some of those, what do you call it? Twin Bloodstone Shards. So we have been able to upgrade our weapon, and here we are. We have the ability to upgrade a weapon. I don't know if I would necessarily want it to be this one that I start giving the level 2 upgrades to, right? Because you go to levels 1 through 3 are sort of tier 1, and starting at level 4, you get to tier 2 of the weapon upgrades. Although maybe it's a little bit more staggered than that, because if you don't upgrade at all, I don't think you get to use blood gems. You need to upgrade in order to gain access to 1, upgrade again to gain access to 2, and then upgrade, I think from 3 to 4 is when we get access to the 3rd of the 3 gem slots, but I could be mistaken about that. Anyway, we're back here in the Cathedral Ward. So not only did we gain much in terms of like physical items from ascending Erden Chapel. Uh-oh. My insight's high enough that this guy has the ranged attack. This is a fun thing. If your insight is low, oops, I'm just instantly dead. Well, there go a lot of blood echoes. Oh well. Oh, I forgot that this is where I was last touching a lantern. Okay. Just to quickly finish the thought before I warp back to the dream and then Erden Chapel to try again. Oh, of course, I say just to finish the thought and then I completely lost the thought. Right, the insight thing, right? I think 15 is probably the break point. I'm seeing I have 17 insight right now. If you have, I think it's 15 insight or more, you can you are susceptible, rather, it's not necessarily something you want to happen, to noticing that those enemies with the lanterns have, like, special growths over them, and there's, like, a glowing arcane nature to them, so that they can do those, like, burst energy attacks, and they can shoot those little, like, will-o'-the-wisp type things at you, and it's a whole... Well, I make it sound more impressive than it is. It's a pretty small attack set, but it is an additional set of attacks that enemy can throw at you that is not available to that enemy otherwise. So that's a little interesting touch there. Anyway, I'm going to warp around. I'll see you when I'm back, and we're going to be making another exciting drop to recreate what's going on here. Oh, I did not mean to sit down as I warp back to the dream, but that's kind of fun. Anyway, I'll see you again soon. All right, we are back in the Cathedral Ward, and we are going to try again. We are going to... Actually, I needed to fall down the other way anyway, so this kind of works out, I suppose. Because I went to the old... the source of the dream, and that meant that I did not get... Haha! Yeah, that's right. That's the sort of reaction I expect from you. It meant that I did not get the items that are part of the normal fall. So let's go get those now. Let's just ignore all these enemies, not worry about ascending Erden Chapel. And, well, I guess we ascended Erden Chapel no matter what. Ooh, that was scary. I was worried I was going to ping pong and, like, fly right off the side of the building, but thankfully that did not happen. Anyway, we need to come over here. Also, I need to put my, oh, it's not on. Right, it's over here. I need to turn my portable lantern back on. And we get to fall down this much safer series of drops. Let's see. And in the process of doing so, get a hold of a couple items. All right. So let's come over here. Let's try and be careful because I would like this item. Line this up just right. Excellent. All right. And, oh, super minor point, but all these things that we get, all these items we pick up, they're from corpses, right? So search corpse is the prompt that I'm getting here. I guess you could tie that into the idea that we gain things from those who have died. Right, that's how we strengthen ourselves. So, like, all of our equipment, well, yeah, because even the stuff that we buy from the shop, we buy with the bequeathed will of the slain, right, or the dead. They're not necessarily slain. They're usually slain by us, but it doesn't have to be. They don't have to be, that is. But even the items that we buy from the shop or pick up out here in the world, I guess the one exception would be the stuff that's in, like, actual treasure chests. But there are a lot of sarcophaguses that we raid, and there are a lot of corpses that we pick stuff up from. And now we can give our messengers little top hats. Maybe I'll do that the next time I'm in the dream. We've still got the bloody messenger head bandage on them, so it could maybe do for a little bit of an upgrade. And I don't think there are any other items besides the one on that beam and the one below here, so I think it's time that we fall. And once again, they give you that little rope as something of a visual guideline. Although, of course, the last time, the rope visual guideline did not prove particularly helpful. All right, and this is where you need to take a little bit of a leap of faith, but if you roll right at the edge of this thing here, you, typically land on this cross beam here, which should look familiar because that's where we fell down to from the doorway there that leads to the healing church, not healing church, the source of the abandoned old workshop. And, of course, a roll gets you over to here, and then we do the regular fall, and we come down here, and notably, that enemy that was sleeping in front of this door is gone. It's another one of the very few and far between unique enemies that sort of disappear after you kill them. So we never have to worry about that enemy again. The other interesting thing about that enemy that I probably should have shown off but didn't want to because I didn't want to die is it is a transformed beast. We got a rune from it. Actually, this is important now that I'm remembering we got that rune because this is the rune at the start of the playthrough. Yeah, I think it is right here. This is the rune at the start of the playthrough that I was saying was one that I knew had received a change. So this is the beast rune. Right, and you can see now, the other thing, I don't think I pointed this out before, but the titles of these runes They're all enclosed in quotation marks in the Japanese, or the Japanese equivalent of quotation marks. Now, typically, Japanese will use quotation marks in situations where the English language does not. So typically, it's a good idea to get rid of them. And I still think probably visually it makes sense to not have them in the title of an item, but it is an interesting additional touch here that I'm noticing, that all of these things which are visual depictions of like spoken sounds are their item names in Japanese are enclosed in quotation marks. And if we come over here, right, no quotation marks, we're not seeing any of that on the clothing, any of these other sorts of items as I go along that list in that particular way. It's the runes, which are sort of visual representations of spoken words that are receiving the quotes, sort of to indicate that they're spoken words. That's kind of cool. I don't think I've noticed that before, but that's a fun detail. Anyway, this is one of the secret letters left behind by copyist Caryll, student of Bergenworth. And that, presumably the rune, is a depiction of the growling voice of a beast of the ruins. The ruins, I guess this is another thing. I talked about how the Underground Labyrinth and the Tomb of the Gods, all that, those are all synonymous with the Chalice Dungeons. The ruins are also synonymous with the Chalice Dungeons. So I think the official translation has this as the roar of a labyrinth beast. First of all, the idea that it's a beast roar makes a ton of sense. Sounds way better. I think Hineti is normally like scream, like if I remember correctly, like a strict dictionary definition. But roar, 100%, like even if it's listed as one of the meanings, it's the correct meaning to pick in this case, if you ask me. Anyway, but the reason they called it the Labyrinth is to get at the idea that it's from the Underground Labyrinth, which is the Chalice Dungeons, right? So this rune comes from Chalice Exploration. So we're tying Caryll, Runesmith of Bergenworth, potentially to doing labyrinth explorations, right? Maybe Caryll went down into the Chalice Dungeons, and that's where he heard the roar of a labyrinth beast and decided to transcribe this. Transcribe, like he was just writing it down. No, he was coming up with a visual depiction. He's the Runesmith, right? Remember. Anyway, let's see. Given the meaning of beast, and again, we're seeing it in quotation marks, it raises the effect of temporary beast transformation of the one who carves. This is essentially a hint towards the mechanical information that the rune will raise your beasthood stat, though that will only be relevant if you enter, say, the temporary beast state caused by beast blood pellets. Oh, and yes, I've had to edit myself in here to provide more accurate information and make sure I convey this next point succinctly, because I find it helpful in letting us catch a glimpse of the translation process. Beast is one of the first Caryll letters, and at the same time, the first forbidden letter. Now, if you're used to playing this game in English, that information should sound pretty familiar. After all, it means basically the same thing as the official line, Beast is one of the early Caryll runes, as well as one of the first to be deemed forbidden. If you were a Japanese player, though, and maybe picked up this game as part of a bundle with a copy of the Old Hunters DLC, you'd notice that this line is different. In version 1.09 of the Japanese release, the short phrase, no hitotsu, is no longer a part of the item description, meaning that a more up-to-date English translation would read more like, Beast was the first Caryll rune, as well as the first to be deemed forbidden. This is important to note in terms of the translation because it's more solid evidence that the Japanese text has received more updates than the English translation. This helps explain other discrepancies we've seen in the text, such as the final lines of the Kirkhammer, and is probably indicative of a more extensive set of updates that went on behind the scenes that didn't get caught in the various released versions of the game. Also, unlike the typo I discovered on the foreign garb early on in this series, the change to this rune's description has a noticeable, if small, effect on the lore. By clarifying that Beast is the first Caryll rune, as opposed to just one of the early ones, this develops the idea that Caryll wasn't just a student sitting around in Bergenworth, but likely went down into the Chalice Dungeons personally, since it suggests the first inhuman sound he figured out how to transcribe was one of the howling voices of the beasts down there. As for this being the first forbidden rune, I think that probably ties in with the information found in the last line, which works out to, the discovery of blood was, essentially, the discovery of an undesirable beast. Okay, I think I'll let Gameplay Matt run with that idea. So, again, there's the labyrinth, and there's the discovery of blood in the labyrinth, and at the same time as that discovery of blood was made, there was the discovery of a beast. We're starting to get some indications that there is a tie between the blood and beasthood. Alright. If we needed them. I mean, it's not exactly a stunning revelation, I don't think, to anyone. Like, even on a first playthrough, I think people are pretty well aware. Alright, now, here's the tricky thing. I don't have to deal with a lot of these enemies. Oh good, they're walking away. The tricky thing is, this elevator has gone up. So I'm going to call it back down. And hopefully these enemies on patrol here will not notice me. So we're going to keep an eye on them as the elevator descends. Oh, well, it doesn't even matter if they notice me. I'm taking an elevator away, up and away from them. Goodbye. I never had to worry about you at all. Okay. Alright, back in the Cathedral Ward, and this time I have learned my lesson. I'm going straight for this lever. Keep an eye out for the enemies that killed me last time, but I'm going straight for this lever, so that now... Haha! Oh, hi there. Ah, I didn't quite make it. I was hoping that charge would work. Alright, and we dodged past this attack. Fortunately, these guys attack pretty slowly. Unfortunately, I also attack pretty slowly. However, my attack is still very powerful. So, there is that. Anyway, now that I've opened this gate, I guess I didn't come up this stairwell before. Boy, I keep coming out this way and then not showing off everything I should when I come out this way. It's kind of funny. But if we come over here, this should look familiar. We've got a crow over there. We've got this guy sort of waiting behind the... Uh-oh. Boy, I exposed myself terribly in terms of taking that attack. Ha! There we go. Boy, it's satisfying being able to take those enemies down in one hit. I don't know why that crow didn't get one shot. Interesting. You would think even a non-fully charged R2 would be enough to kill a crow. Maybe there was some sort of, like, glancing blow because of the staircase. I don't know. Anyway, we have basically created a shortcut now where we can go through this gate here. And down here is Rune Chapel. Hooray! Yeah, in case people weren't putting that together. I mean, I feel like the people who are watching this playthrough already knew all of that, but there is a chance. I have talked to at least one person who has indicated that they've never played Bloodborne before and they are interested in following along with this playthrough. So if you're watching this episode now, Scott Sword, call you out by name. If you're watching this episode now, this does function as a shortcut and allows you to loop back around to the Cathedral Ward. Alright, Rune Chapel connected to the wider Cathedral Ward. Uh-oh. I was so used to the one-shots happening. Alright, anyway. You would think, I've always thought that this ladder would take me right back up to the same place that I fell down from when I took that elevator. But it actually does not. This is a totally separate place. You could see my poor visual sense for direction here. And we picked up some numbing mist. Alright, I think I'm not going to worry about the numbing mist for now. But I don't think that the wooden shield is anything too difficult to wrap our minds around. So, let's see, what sort of... Oh, of course, it's technically a left-hand weapon. So, here we have the wooden shield. Let's see. A, like, rough or crude wooden shield used by the masses that rose up to, I guess, join the beast hunt. I think you're probably right, Gameplay Matt, but it is worth pointing out that Holki means uprising or revolt, and with the addition of suru to turn it into a verb, it's possible to interpret this line as indicating that the shield was used by the masses who revolted against either the beast hunt or the hunters. I'm pretty sure the idea of them rising up to fight the beasts is actually the correct one, since we can find groups of half-turned hunters that include shield users, and they seem to be all about hunting us as a beast. that suggests they consider themselves to be among the hunters. But at least as far as I understand it, by linguistic analysis alone, that wouldn't necessarily have to be the case. I take this as another example of how tricky it can be to determine which linguistic interpretations are the correct ones to make in a game like Bloodborne. And having pointed that out, I'll let Gameplay Matt carry on with a translation of the rest of the description. Essentially, hunters are not those who use shields. Look at that, very pointed. Basically, hunters don't use shields. As for why, in comparison to the strength of the beasts, it's too impotent, right? It's not powerful enough. Shields are good. However, one must not become overconfident. So, there you go. That item is very well known just for the fact that it tells you basically not to use a shield, right? They give you a shield and they tell you, hunters don't use shields. It's too weak compared to the attacks of beasts. This is a bad idea. It's nice to have, be able to take refuge in a shield, but don't, rest in security on it. And it is one of the differentiating factors between this game and the Souls games, where that's a lot of relying on shields for attacks. And there's one more item up here that I must have missed. Oh no. Alright, well, we get to do all that over again. I think it's just a messenger item, but I don't want to miss it. I can't I can't do it. I've got those completionist tendencies are acting up. Can't let it go at this. Gotta climb the ladder. Gotta go back to the roofs. Where did I miss it? I'm almost positive there's a messenger adornment item up here. Aha! Here we go. Look at that, hiding under the lip of this roof. Can't believe it fooled me. Fell for the oldest trick in the book. Hide an item under a ledge. Anyway, let's continue to make some progress now that we have connected Erden Chapel with the rest of the Cathedral Ward by undoing that little locked gate there. Let's make a little progress through the Cathedral Ward itself, shall we? I think it's time we explored this place a bit. Found our way around. Opened some more passages. And I saw an enemy. Okay, good. It's walking away. Because I really just want to open a lot of gates right now. It's sort of my main objective at the moment. I'll pick up some knowledge as well. Some madman's knowledge off of these corpses. One thing that I never thought about for a long time, I played this game for a while, and it was years, I think, literally, before I realized, there's probably a connection between, oh, that's interesting, you can stagger the giants. Oh, he swings right over my head, that's kind of funny. Boy, I had so much trouble with that enemy when I was first coming outside the Cathedral Ward, but dropped that one without too much trouble. Anyway, the thing that took me years to recognize was this is a church graveyard, and we're seeing people who have passed away at it, and this is all sorts of madman's knowledge is lying around. And maybe it's not a mistake that, or maybe it's not a coincidence that the place where, if you're going to find knowledge from a bunch of dead skulls that were sort of had their minds blown by the unmatched significance of the nature of the world, right? They penetrated into the hidden truths of the world, and you're claiming the knowledge off of their dead skulls. Those people might be in the Healing Church, right? And they, when they pass away, right, they leave their knowledge behind for those who want to come take it. Now, technically, we're not looting the graves, right? That would be one thing. But we do have these corpses that are outside the... Maybe these corpses were people who were looting graves, and were looting their dead body. No, probably not. I don't know. I don't know to what extent this is just a gameplay convenience that they didn't want to have items just lying on headstones. They wanted them to be on corpses because most items presented in the world are on corpses. Interestingly, we can see that this particular corpse is wearing, identifying themselves with the holy shawl there, that sort of scarf-like thing that goes down the back, as a member of the Healing Church. That holy shawl, as we will see probably before too long, is a key indicator of someone who belongs to the Healing Church. And certainly they seem to be prizing Madman's knowledge in this, I want to call it a square, but it's a circle, in this circle. I can't think of the right term. That's okay. That's all right. This is not a thinking episode of The Old Hunt. This is a running around and opening doors episode of The Old Hunt. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run around and open doors. And this one should also look familiar if you've been following along with the playthrough. This is where, somewhere over here, right there, is the first of those church giants that gave me so much trouble. And if we go back there, we will also find our way into Erden Chapel and eventually Old Yarnum. And this is also where, if we had purchased the item from the messengers in the dream, we could have seen the badge, the Chief Hunter emblem. We could have seen the messengers pulling this lever if we had enough insight. It's pretty cool. And, all right, let's see. What do I want to do here? I've opened all the major gate passages here. And I guess there's a little bit more exploration to do. We can go... Ah! Am I going to die? Okay. Sometimes you can get caught in a string of flame sprayer attacks from that enemy, and it just destroys you. But fortunately, that did not happen. Alright, can't get more Quicksilver bullets, and that's fine. I don't mind being at max Quicksilver bullets. I did not see that crow. Fortunately, it didn't react fast enough to punish me, so haha. And I am once again building up a good number of blood echoes that I will probably lose in dispiriting fashion. Alright, this is the Quicksilver bullets. Let's see. We can go down this little alleyway here, and this enemy is powered up because my insight is really high. But fortunately, with it... Ah! It missed. I should have stayed the course. Boy, that's interesting. It does seem like an R2 that fails to charge. What if I just tap it? Okay, an R2 that I tap did 160. An R2 that I started to charge and then abandoned did not do that much damage. I wonder if that's like a deliberate thing. Like, it's totally possible that I just messed up the spacing or something. But I wonder how deliberate that is as like a risk-reward thing, where if you commit to a quick R2, you get a lot of damage. If you commit to a fully charged R2, you get a lot of damage. But if you partially commit and then like have to abandon it, it like doesn't give you the full power of the strike. I wonder. But I think I'm going to wait to go down this particular alleyway until next time, because it's been a fairly good length for an episode, and we've been avoiding doing anything too taxing mentally, and I think this is just going to be a nice, easy, sort of progress-oriented episode of The Old Hunt. And as I bid you farewell, I thank you all very much for watching. I'm going to call an end to my hunt for the evening, and I wish you good hunting. I said good hunting! Silly gestures. Gestures just do not cooperate with me. Good hunting, everyone.